It was once an American staple, but today the value is gone. Portions are shrinking, while the prices keep climbing.
Valve. $5 could buy lunch, $10 could feed a tired worker. And the drive-thru felt like one of the last places where ordinary people still had control. That deal is breaking. Wendy's is closing hundreds of restaurants. Pizza Hut is shrinking. Customers are staring at receipts that look nothing like fast food. And the chains that survive are not winning because people suddenly love them more. They are winning because they learned something darker. In this economy, the value menu is no longer a promotion. It is a warning light. For decades, fast food had a simple promise. It was not gourmet. It was not healthy. It was not pretending to be a chef-driven experience. It worked because it was fast, cheap, consistent, and available almost anywhere. A family could pull into a parking lot after work, order without thinking too hard, and leave with enough food to feel like the day had been handled. That was the machine. That was the model. Speed replaced planning. Low prices replaced cooking. Predictability replaced trust. Now look at what happens when that model starts cracking. The food is still fast, but the price is not cheap. The building is still open, but the lobby may feel understaffed. The menu still says value, but the receipt says something else. A burger, fries, and a drink that once felt like an impulse purchase can now feel like a small financial decision. When a customer sees a $12 combo, a $15 meal, or a pizza order pushing toward $30, the old mental math collapses. That is where the crisis begins. Not in a boardroom, not in a quarterly chart. It begins at the counter, when the customer asks a simple question: why am I paying restaurant prices for a fast food experience that feels worse than it did 10 years ago? Wendy's is one of the clearest warning signs. The company is planning to close roughly 5% to 6% of its U.S. restaurants by mid-2026. With Wendy's ending 2025 at just under 6,000 U.S. restaurants, that means hundreds of locations are being cut from the system. In corporate language, this is called optimization. In plain English, it means some stores no longer make enough sense to keep alive. The numbers behind it are brutal. In the fourth quarter of 2025, Wendy's U.S. same-restaurant sales fell 11.3%. That is not a tiny slowdown. That is the kind of drop that tells you customers did not just complain online. They stopped showing up. Overall, U.S. system-wide sales dropped more than 10%. Traffic was weak, costs were higher, franchisees were under pressure, and when fast food loses traffic, the entire business model starts to shake because these chains are built on volume. They need constant movement. They need breakfast rushes, lunch lines, dinner orders, late-night runs, app deals, delivery orders, and drive-thru lanes that keep turning. A fast food restaurant with thin traffic is not just a quiet restaurant. It is an expensive box sitting on land, paying labor, utilities, insurance, repairs, franchise fees, and food costs while fewer people walk through the door. Closing underperforming stores may help the company's math, but it also exposes the real problem. The brand is no longer strong enough in some markets to pull customers in at the prices it now needs to charge. And that is the trap. Wendy's cannot simply go back to 2012 prices. Beef is more expensive, wages are higher, rent is higher, insurance is higher, equipment costs more. A franchise operator cannot run a modern restaurant on nostalgia. Yet the customer does not care about the operator's spreadsheet. The customer sees the final price, the portion size, the wait time, and the mood of the worker at the window. If the experience feels worse while the price feels higher, the customer calls it a ripoff. That word matters because fast food used to be protected by convenience. People would forgive a lot if the meal was cheap. Cold fries? Annoying, but fine. Long line? Still cheaper than a sit-down restaurant. Smaller burger? At least it was only a few dollars. Once the bill rises, the forgiveness disappears. A $5 disappointment is one thing. A $14 disappointment feels personal. That is why Wendy's new permanent Biggie Deals menu is not just a menu change. It is a confession. When a company moves from temporary promotions to everyday value, it is admitting the customer needs a permanent reason to come back. Limited-time deals are great when people already love the brand. Everyday value is what you need when people have started leaving. McDonald's understood this faster. After taking heat for high prices and losing lower-income traffic, the company leaned hard into value, digital deals, loyalty rewards, and menu items designed to pull people back. By the fourth quarter of 2025, McDonald's reported global comparable sales growth of 5.7%. Its full-year system-wide sales reached more than $139 billion, and loyalty sales climbed to nearly $37 billion across 70 markets. That sounds like strength, and in many ways it is. McDonald's is still the giant. It has scale, data, advertising muscle, real estate power, and an app ecosystem that smaller competitors cannot easily match. Yet McDonald's recovery also reveals something uncomfortable. The company is not winning because consumers suddenly became carefree. It is winning because it is better at managing pressure. It can offer app deals without completely destroying the brand. It can push a value platform while still selling premium sandwiches. It can use loyalty data to decide who gets what offer, when, and how often. In the old fast food world, the menu board was the main battlefield. In the new one, the phone is. That shift is massive. The customer may think they are just opening an app to find a discount, but the chain is doing much more. It is collecting behavior, pushing notifications, training repeat visits, testing price sensitivity, and turning deals into personalized triggers. A paper coupon in the mail was simple. A mobile loyalty system is a machine. It knows whether a customer disappeared for 3 weeks. It knows which discount can pull them back. It knows who pays full price and who waits for a deal. This is why fast food no longer works like it used to. The old model was one price for everyone on a glowing menu board. The new model is a split system. One customer pays the full combo price. Another customer opens the app and gets a cheaper bundle. A third gets a reward because the algorithm wants them back. It may feel like value, but it also means the base price has become less trustworthy. Customers are being trained to hunt for discounts because the regular price feels inflated. McDonald's can survive that game because it has the digital scale to play it. Wendy's is trying to rebuild its value message, but Pizza Hut shows what happens when a legacy brand loses both price trust and cultural momentum at the same time. Pizza Hut is closing about 250 U.S. restaurants in the first half of 2026, roughly 4% of its domestic system. Its parent company, Yum Brands, has been conducting a strategic review of Pizza Hut, including the possibility of a sale. That is not a small signal. When a company that also owns Taco Bell and KFC starts examining the future of one of America's most recognizable pizza chains, it means the problem is deeper than a bad quarter. Pizza Hut's U.S. same-store sales fell 5% in 2025. In the fourth quarter, they were down 3%. The brand has been losing ground for years, and the emotional damage may be worse than the financial damage. For many Americans, Pizza Hut used to mean red cups, sit-down booths, family dinners, personal pan pizzas, book-it memories, arcade corners, and a cheap night out that felt bigger than it was. That version of Pizza Hut had a place in people's lives. The modern version often feels less clear. Is it a delivery chain? A carry-out chain? A nostalgia brand? A value option? A premium pizza brand? When customers cannot answer that quickly, the brand starts fading. Domino's spent years building a delivery and tech machine. Local pizza shops often win on quality. Frozen pizzas win on price. Fast casual options win on freshness. Pizza Hut gets squeezed from every direction. Price makes the squeeze worse. When customers feel like a chain, pizza costs too much for what arrives at the door. Nostalgia turns into resentment. A person may forgive a local shop for being expensive if the pizza feels handmade. They may forgive a frozen pizza for being average because it costs $6 or $7. But a national chain charging close to sit-down prices while delivering a product customers remember as better creates a dangerous gap between memory and reality. That gap is where brands die slowly. Not all at once. First, customers go less often. Then, they only order with coupons. Then they compare it to frozen pizza. Then, they stop checking the app. A restaurant does not need everyone to hate it to decline. It only needs enough people to stop caring. And while Pizza Hut fights that identity crisis, Taco Bell is showing the opposite side of the industry. Under the same parent company, Taco Bell posted 7% same-store sales growth in the fourth quarter and for full year 2025. That is not happening by accident. Taco Bell has managed to become one of the few fast food brands that still understands the emotional power of low-priced variety. It does not need to convince people it is gourmet. It sells the feeling of getting something fun, customizable, late-night friendly, and relatively affordable. There is a lesson here that sounds simple but is actually brutal. Customers will accept cheap chaos faster than expensive disappointment. Taco Bell can launch weird items, bring back old ones, push boxes, create app drops, and speak to younger diners in a way that feels less stiff than many legacy brands. Its loyalty and digital strategy gives people a reason to keep checking in. For Gen Z, that matters. Younger customers are used to apps, rewards, drops, streaks, limited releases, and online culture shaping what they buy. Taco Bell does not just sell tacos, it sells little moments of participation. That is why the corporate language about being within culture sounds ridiculous but points to something real. In a market where attention is currency, Taco Bell has made itself harder to ignore. Pizza Hut feels like a brand trying to remember what it used to be. Taco Bell feels like a brand constantly trying to become the next joke, the next craving, the next late-night option, the next app notification people actually click. Still, even Taco Bell's success points back to the same pressure. Value is the center of everything. McDonald's talks about affordability. Wendy's builds permanent deals. Pizza Hut closes underperforming stores. Taco Bell grows through value boxes, digital rewards, and young consumers who want more food for less money. Different outcomes, same battlefield. The deeper issue is that fast food has been caught between two economies. On one side, operators face higher costs almost everywhere. Food inputs, wages, rent, utilities, maintenance, technology, delivery fees, credit card processing, packaging, and remodel requirements all push the price upward. On the other side, customers are exhausted by years of price increases across groceries, rent, car insurance, utilities, and debt payments. Their patience is gone. So when a chain raises prices even for logical business reasons, the customer does not view it in isolation. That burger is competing against a grocery bill. That pizza is competing against a car payment. That breakfast sandwich is competing against rent. Fast food may seem like a small purchase, but small purchases are exactly where strained consumers start measuring whether life still makes sense. A family that used to spend $25 at a drive-thru and now sees $45 does not need an economics lecture. They understand the change immediately. A worker on a 30-minute lunch break who pays $13 for a meal that tastes rushed feels the decline immediately. A parent who opens a delivery app and watches fees, tips, taxes, and markups turn a basic order into a luxury experience understands that convenience has been quietly repriced. Delivery made this even more complicated. Fast food was once cheap because the customer did part of the work. They drove there, ordered, picked it up, and left. Delivery adds more hands, more fees, more platforms, more packaging, and more margin pressure. The customer pays more, the restaurant may earn less than expected, and the experience can arrive cold. The promise of convenience expands, but the value equation gets worse. That is one reason app loyalty has become so important. Chains are trying to pull customers back into their own digital ecosystems instead of letting third-party delivery platforms own the relationship. If a customer orders through the chain's app, the company gets the data, the habit, the repeat visit, and more control. The food industry used to fight over street corners. Now it fights over home screens. This is where the fast food split becomes clearer. The winners are not simply the chains with the best food. They are the chains with the strongest value architecture. They know how to combine menu pricing, digital deals, loyalty rewards, cultural relevance, and operational speed into one system. The losers may still have name recognition, but name recognition is not enough when the customer feels overcharged. Wendy's has name recognition. Pizza Hut has history. KFC has a global footprint. Burger chains, chicken chains, pizza chains, sandwich chains. Many of them still have millions of customers. Yet the industry is learning that a familiar logo cannot hide a broken value equation. A customer may recognize the sign from the highway and still keep driving. The most dangerous part is that store closures can make the problem look smaller than it is. When a company closes weak locations, sales per remaining restaurant may improve. Margins may look cleaner. Investors may hear the word optimization and feel better. But for the public, closures change the physical map of convenience. A closed Wendy's in one town, a closed Pizza Hut in another, a darkened dining room near a strip mall. These are small local signals that something is being pulled back. Fast food once expanded as if American demand was endless. More suburbs, more highways, more drive-thrus, more late-night traffic, more families on the move. The assumption was simple. If you built enough locations, people would come. Now the industry is being forced to admit that not every location deserves to exist. Not every brand has pricing power. Not every customer can be pushed into the app. Not every promotion can fix a reputation that has been damaged over years. And reputation may be the hardest thing to rebuild. Customers remember when portions felt larger. They remember when dollar menus actually had dollars on them. They remember when a pizza night felt affordable. They remember when a fast food stop did not require checking 3 apps, comparing bundles, and wondering if the coupon disappeared. Once a brand teaches customers to distrust the regular price, it creates a new problem. People only feel smart buying from you when they think they beat you. That is not loyalty. That is negotiation. The next phase of fast food will be more divided. Strong brands will use data to personalize discounts, redesign menus around profitable value, close weak locations, and push customers deeper into loyalty programs. Weaker brands will keep trimming stores, refreshing logos, announcing turnarounds, launching limited-time items, and hoping customers forget why they left. Some will survive, some will shrink quietly. A few may become memories attached to buildings that still have the old roof shape, but a completely different restaurant inside. For workers, this shift also brings pressure. When traffic drops, labor hours get cut. When orders surge through apps, kitchens become more chaotic. When customers are angry about prices, the person at the counter often absorbs the frustration. Fast food employees did not create inflation, franchise debt, corporate strategy, or menu pricing. Yet they stand between the company and the customer at the exact moment the value promise breaks. That tension shows up in service. Understaffed stores create longer waits. Longer waits make customers angrier. Angry customers make workers quit faster. Higher turnover weakens training. Weaker training damages consistency. Damaged consistency pushes more customers away. It becomes a loop, and once that loop starts, a brand cannot fix it with one new combo box. This is why the crisis is bigger than Wendy's, Pizza Hut, McDonald's, or Taco Bell. Those are just the visible names. The real story is that the fast food social contract has changed. For years, Americans accepted the trade-off. The food was not perfect, but it was cheap. The service was not elegant, but it was quick. The restaurant was not special, but it was dependable. That was enough. Now the trade-off feels worse. Higher price, smaller trust, more apps, more fees, more waiting, more closed locations, more corporate language explaining why the customer should still believe in value while the receipt keeps climbing. Fast food is not disappearing. That would be too simple. It is becoming something colder, more calculated, and more divided. The chains that can turn affordability into a system will keep growing. The chains that treat value like a temporary marketing slogan will keep bleeding traffic. And the customer, the person this entire industry was built around, is becoming harder to fool. The warning is not just in the earnings calls. It is in the quiet drive-thru lane at lunch. It is in the empty dining room that used to be full after school. It is in the pizza chain closing another batch of stores while people say frozen tastes better now. It is in the burger chain launching permanent value deals because temporary discounts no longer work. It is in the app notification begging for one more visit. Fast food used to be the place people went when everything else felt too expensive, too slow, or too complicated. That was its power. That was its protection. Once fast food itself starts feeling expensive, slow, and complicated, the entire business loses the shield that made it untouchable. And that is the real warning. The industry did not just raise prices. It broke the feeling that made people come back without thinking. When customers start thinking too hard about fast food, comparing the receipt to groceries, questioning the quality, checking the app like a survival tool, and driving past familiar signs without stopping, something has already changed. The golden arches may still glow. Taco Bell may still pull crowds. Wendy's may still rebuild. Pizza Hut may still search for a second life. But the old promise is gone. Cheap, easy, dependable fast food was one of America's quiet safety valves. Now that safety valve is under pressure too. And when even the value menu needs a value menu, the problem is no longer just fast food, it is the economy underneath it.